It's Ralph Tyndall release day! Hey everyone! My name is Brennan and welcome to my channel. Today I am so excited to be sharing with you the new Ralph Tyndall and Hero Arts release for the October. It is so much fun and it is so versatile. A lot of the stuff can work for so many occasions, and I love when products can be used for a lot of stuff and it's not just limited to one topic or theme. I do just want to quickly note that these products were sent to me ahead of time and early and free of charge, just so I can make a little content before they came out. And also, there is an Instagram hop going on right now, and I'll link my Instagram page down below in case you're interested, because there is a giveaway attached to that. So it will be the first post on my Instagram feed, and I'll make sure to pin it just so you can find it very easily in case you're interested. There are a couple of themes in this release. There's a theater theme, a retro theme, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. But while I love theater, I challenged myself and used an interactive die from the retro part in here, because I've never done an interactive die before, so I was a little bit nervous, but we made it through it. I was like, Ralph, help, please help. He was very kind, and it's a lot easier than I was making it out to be. You'll see how easy it is in this video. It's literally just gluing a couple layers of cardstock together, so I was very much overcomplicating that. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Here it is! This is the new October release from Ralph Tyndall and Hero Arts. So just like last time, if you remember, there were 3 groups of products that worked with each other. So it was like one theme, and there were 3 of them. Same as last time. So we have 3 themes for this one. We have the Center Stage Continued, which is this one right here. We have the Retro and Nostalgia group, and then we have the Street View Heroscape, which is on its own. So firstly, we're starting with the Center Stage Continued. So if you remember last time, there was this nice stage die with a stencil and a stamp set that you can make with people performing and stuff like that. So this is the Holiday Edition. So firstly, this is the Sparkling Holiday Stage stamp set, and as well as coordinating die set, and this is for all your winter stage needs. So you have some Rockettes here, and then you have a bunch of different Christmas items to make a really nice scene. And then you have the holiday marquee messages, and I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, because I love theater, so this is perfect for me. We're not going to be using it today, but I could envision like maybe a nice brick background with this just on it for a really simple Christmas card, maybe adding some different Christmas elements, or maybe like somehow making the front of a theater and putting the marquee right on it. That would look really, really cool. So now we're moving into the retro/nostalgia group. So first up, this is the interactive 8-ball stamp set, and this goes with the die set, which is the interactive piece. But you can make your own 8-ball here, and it looks really cool. And I know it may look intimidating, because I was intimidated at first, to be fully honest. I messaged Ralph and was like, Ralph, how do I put this together? And he was like, don't worry, I have a video. So this is what we're going to be using today, and it is so cool because this inside message can move, and you can have it hidden, and you can have the recipient see what the actual message is, and you'll see a little bit more later, but it's so much fun. And then for the second part of the retro and nostalgia piece, we have the retro game stamp set, and this goes with the retro game fancy dies. So basically here, you're putting together your own Game Boy, which is thought is really fun, and I did not grow up on the Game Boy because that is before my time. I had a DS, but sorry for aging everyone. So for this one, you have some of your different game elements. You have your health bar up here, you have Pac-Man, you have the ghost from Pac-Man. I think this is called Space Invader with the ships and the aliens. Don't quote me on that. And then a bunch of different gaming sentiments. You have some Tetris down here. I know my games, don't worry. But you put these onto the die. I mean, you don't have to, but they go with this die, and you can make your own little game. Just a quick tip that was on the little sheet that was sent with this. It suggested that you cut this out beforehand because these are already perfectly aligned for the placement of where the buttons would go. So just cutting it out on some cardstock, doesn't have to be anything nice, it could be a scrap even, would let you have that alignment guide just so you know exactly where to place these, because you're realistically probably going to cut these apart as they're made to be cut apart. And then lastly, we have the Street View Heroscape. So as you can see, and I want to flip this over just so you can see what it looks like when it's done, this is just for building a street. You have your apartment buildings here. It's kind of giving me like Tomorrowland Disney vibes, and I don't know why, but it just is. This would be perfect if you have a new neighbor moving in, especially because there is a sentiment here, welcome to the neighborhood. Maybe if you're going on a trip together and exploring a new city with someone, that could also work really well. So let's get started, and like I said before, we're using that 8-ball stamp set and die set. So your first step with the magic 8-ball die is just going to be to cut it apart. You want to cut those little pieces off, then you'll be left with 5 dies. So you have your cover, and you're going to want to cut out 2 of these. I know that seems weird, but you're going to have your one on the top, and then I personally want to put one on the bottom so we can seal in that interactive piece. The bottom one doesn't have to be black, and the top one technically doesn't have to be black either. And then this is the 8, and it's going to be partially cut off like it is, because it's going to go on the very top here, and this will be the white part of the ball. So this big circle will be black, and this will be the white part, and this will go right here, and then you'll have the 8 coming off, and it will start to look like that. So now you can see that 8 ball starting to come together. And then this just gives it height so that interactive piece can move. And you're going to want to do at least 2 of these, but I'm going to do 3, and we'll glue them together. And then lastly, this is the interactive piece. I'm going to do it in white. You don't have to, but this will be the piece that is seen in here, and when you can slide this around in it to change the message. So let's get started with assembly. So now we have all of our pieces cut. We have the 8, we have the backing piece for the 8 ball, we have the top piece of the 8 ball, we have the interactive piece, and then we have our pieces over here that will give us dimension. So I'm just going to start with these pieces over here. All we're going to do is just align these up with each other. So just adding a little bit of glue just so they stay stuck together. And you're not going to want to drop them, but you might drop them and it'll be okay. And then I'm just going to stick these on here, just right on top of each other. Kind of like how if you're doing sentiments on top of each other, just to add a little bit of extra height and make them stand out. This is just so the interactive piece works. And then we'll do this one more time. And there we go now. So this will just allow our interactive piece to be able to move because we have that little bit of thickness to it. Now I'm going to add on that 8. So first I'm just going to glue the 8 to the white part, and then I'll glue the white part down to the 8 ball. Trying to center this as best as I can. Okay, and there we go. And now you can start to see how that's an 8 because it's just the ball is just rolled on its side, so you won't be able to see the full 8. And now I'm going to put this like right on top of where the circle is. And there we go. So the first part of our 8 ball is done, and you can actually see that it's an 8 ball now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this onto the back of here. And the reason why there's a portion that's open is because since this is an interactive die, what we're going to do is we're going to pop this piece into the back. And these portions right here stop it from being able to move fully, so it just doesn't fall out, or so it doesn't do like a full 360-degree rotation. So what we're going to do here is we're, once again, just going to glue this on. So I have my glue on here, and I'm just going to place it down. You don't have to be super careful where you're placing it. Basically, you just want to have this opening wherever you want the little handle part to be on your card. So I'm going to have it tilted like this on my card, I think. So I want it to be up here. So when I turn this handle, it will turn the paper on the inside, and we'll do the same on here, so you can hide your message up here or down there. So now I've pulled out my stamp wheel as it has that sticky mat in there, and that's going to make this step a lot easier, but it's totally fine if you don't have a sticky mat. It just, for me, I think it will be easier for myself. So we're going to pull out that stamp set now, and we're going to choose between these 4 triangles here with the messages inside. I think I'm going to make a card that says, I think I'm going to do the, I'm not saying you're getting old, but, and then do the it seems so yes on the inside of the wheel. So for now, we're just going to use the it seems so yes part. So I've pulled the stamp set out, now I'm just going to grab that. So now when you go to stamp this, I'm going to put the inside wheel piece inside of the 8 ball, but I haven't glued on the backing yet. God forbid I mess up and I need to redo this. So if you're lining this up like I am, you want the handle to be in the position of when the message will appear visible. That way, when you go to stamp it, it will remain in the same place. This is when it's going to be open, the handle down here. So now I'm just going to place this down on the sticky mat, and that way the 8 ball and the little handle should stay in place without any issue. Now I can go in here and align this triangle up so it's pretty much centered. That appears pretty good. And now I can just take the top part of the stamp wheel and get to stamping. I'm just going to go in with some VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink this bad boy up, and flip it. Now we can press, and bam, there we go. So that message is now there when you move the handle down, but when we move that handle up, it will just be the white space, and you don't know what the message will say. So now we're moving on to the final assembly step for this 8 ball, and that's gluing that backing piece on. I have the reveal piece with that little handle exactly where I want it to be, so now I can just come along this edge and add some glue. Be careful here to not get any glue on that interactive piece, and don't use too much glue where it could squeeze out onto it, just because that could prevent it from turning. So now I'm going to very carefully take this and add on this extra topping piece just as a bottom. It can be in any color because you're not going to see it. I just did it in white because that's what the cardstock I had on my desk. And I'll let this dry for a second before I try to play with it so nothing goes awry. Do we have our working reveal? It seems so. Yes, we have it. So with the magic 8 ball all done and the message ready to be revealed, that means it's time to start working on the background of the card. I'm just going to do a really simple green background because that's what a pool table looks like. But I can't just do a green background, no. So I'm just going to go in with whatever residual ink is on my green ink blender here, and we're just going to go around, deepening this up a little bit And this just helps to add a little bit more dimension, and it will kind of draw our eye to the center of the card where the ball will be. And there we go. That outside is now darker, and that center is a little bit lighter, which will help draw our eye to that Magic 8 ball. I also want to just add a little bit of white splatter, so I have some white paint here, and I'm just going to mix this into a little bit of water. I'm down to like my last milliliter of paint, so we're really lucky here that we're even able to do this. I also like to tap all this excess paint off first, because I find that gets you really big blobs like those, and that's not what I'm going for. If you're going for it, that's totally fine, but that's not what I'm doing. So we've tapped that off, so now I can go in and just gently tap over this and get some nice smaller dots. With my desk cleaned and my background dry, it is time for assembly. So this part may seem intimidating, but I promise you it's going to be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this 8 ball roughly where I want it on the card. Okay, that's where I about want it. So we're going to try not to move that. And now we're going to place the sentiment that I'm not saying you're getting old, but it seems so. Yes. We're just going to try to align this as perfectly even as we can. But remember, it's a handmade card, not a Hallmark card. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think this is good. So we're going to try not to touch this at all and very carefully close our misty door. So now we got that stamp on there. We're all set. So I can move this 8 ball out of the way and put this back in its place. And now we can just get to inking up our stamp. I do like to gently wipe down the stamp though with my finger, just in case if there's any residue from the factory to get it off. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. It just depends. So now once more, I'm going to go in with that VersaFine Clear and ink up this bad boy. And best to believe on the back, I tested to make sure the black would show up bold enough, and it did, so that's why I'm fine going with it. There we go. Did that impression come out perfect? It seems so, yes. And now our final step is to glue this 8 ball down into the card. You want to be careful when you assemble the card where you put this little handle, because if I wanted to put this up here close, I couldn't because then I'd block words, but since I was intending to put it down a little bit, I'm perfectly fine. So then when we twist it down like that, it will still be visible, none of the message up here will be blocked, and it all still looks great. So we can just fold that right back up in there, and see, we don't block anything. So all I gotta do now is just glue this down. When you're gluing, if you assembled it like me, make sure you avoid this circle. We don't want to get any glue in there because then the glue could get inside of the mechanism and then it would not end well. So we just want to be really careful and stay pretty far away from that. So now, so we want it like this when it goes down. We'll put that hinge up so it stays out of the way of any text. And there we go. Look at that. Okay, this is just so much fun. I'm having so much fun playing with this. And here is the final card. I just added a couple of matte white enamel dots to it. And one more thing, and if you're adding embellishments, just be very intentional on where you place them because you don't want them to get in the way of the moving parts. Just because if I had put one like here by mistake, that could hit my hand and it wouldn't end well. So yeah, just be careful of that so we don't mess up the mechanism. I am just like genuinely proud of myself for actually doing an interactive card. Like, I've never done that before, but I think it came out pretty good. You guys can be the judge of that. You can let me know. Did I fail? Did I succeed? But I think it came out pretty good, at least for my first time. Thank you so much for watching and have an amazing rest of your day. And once again, thank you to Ralph and Hero Arts for sending this release to me. I've had a lot of fun playing with that set, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun in the future playing with the theater part of the release. That's just, I love theater so much. So yeah, it's just perfect for me. Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone, and bye! Happy crafting. And don't forget to check out the Instagram hop if you're interested in the giveaway. Just thought I'd throw that in there at the end. Bye, guys.